I'm glad I bought tools, or brought tools. I had to shed 300 pounds. Their scale's all fucked up. I was weighing 320 pounds heavy. Mark added weight to his, and he weighed the exact same as what he did when he scaled it before he added weight. Their scale's all messed up. Matt weighed all right. And then here's the problem I run into. Ron's pulling his 18 and he's in the 12 and he's got the old Cummins. So hopefully my radials top his horsepower. Who says Detroit's can't lug? Alright, I'm gonna get this video finished up real quick. It's actually the day after the poll because yesterday, by the time I got done, I'm glad I've come to the conclusion that I know way too many people because I decided when I got there I was only going to take video of the people that I knew. Otherwise, I'd have never been able to do anything. And by the time it was all said and done, I had exactly 1% camera battery left when it was all done. So I didn't have enough camera battery left to finish the video yesterday, and by the time we got done pulling, Mark and I took off with this and his 10 at like 4:30 from the fairgrounds. I made it back down here by 5, and by the time I got everything shuffled back into the barn, Mark was back to pick me up with the pickup, and then we all went back over to Matt's place where we left from yesterday. Teeter, get out of there. You're going to get covered in grease again. She likes it. And she's got a hunk of cow shit in her mouth. That's nice. Anyway, yeah. We all met back over at Matt's last night and then headed up, and they have the night NTPA poll up there, so we went up there to that, which was a little disappointing, except for got to see one of the mini rods break a crank and scatter the block all over the track, so that was cool. Sucks for him, but it's always nice seeing somebody else break their shit. So anyway, I didn't have time to finish this yesterday, so that's why I'm doing it now. But anyway, like I said, I only got video of the people that I knew, and there was a couple people that I wish I would have got video of, but I missed their poll. But I think I got enough tractors and enough flavors in there. It should satisfy everybody's taste buds. All the Fords were owned by the Miller family. I'm friends with them. TJ, which is he'd be the youngest boy. He pulled the 9600, and he pulled an 8600. Pretty sure those were the only two he pulled that I got video of. But TJ, he's the one that baled some of the straw off of my hayfield, and I went to high school with him. So I've known him for a long time. I actually started going to middle school with him, and we went to middle school and high school together. So I've known him forever. But the Fords are all owned by the Millers. There's at least a couple. I'm trying to remember who all I got video of. That 7000 series Alice, that's Marsh's. You've seen that in a couple of my videos. Well, you've seen that in the 4th of July videos before. Seems like I got Marsh's 210. I know I got two Alice's and they're both Marsh's, so I'm trying to remember what the other one was. That Hot 560 I got video of, that was my buddy Andy. We were expecting him to scatter that one all over the track because he has bought that tractor and it was turned up when he got it and he turned it up more. But he held her together, so that was good. The big Massey that you saw, that 2745, I don't remember the model number. I'm bad at Massey model numbers because they don't really make any, I mean, they make sense if you know Masseys, but that's owned by the kid that was running the round baler that was baling straw. His name's Tyler. They farm just south of Mom and Dad's here. He actually just bought that tractor. It came up from down south. He got a pretty good deal on that, so that was his first pull in it. He didn't do too bad. Trying to remember. I don't know. I got video of so many damn tractors, it ain't funny. So anyway, just had to give you the rundown. So Richard, he's the one that pulled first with Ron's 88. You know, the 88 that we took the diff out of doing the burnout thing. Looks like it's running pretty good to me. He took fifth. He was in the 6,000 farm stock, which he was the only stock tractor in that class. Well, anymore, farm stock does not necessarily mean farm stock. Farm stock just means that it looks like a farm tractor, basically. They were all hot. But he was the only stock tractor in that class, and he was way light. But he managed to take fifth. So he placed. He got $10 back out of the 20 you got to pay to get in, so I guess that's better than nothing. Matt pulled a 1655 in the, I remember what class Matt pulled in, 8,000 I think. But Matt didn't place on the 1655. Ron pulled his R. He did not place, but again, I think Ron pulled his R in the 8,000. I know that for sure. And you're talking a little, what's an R, 50 something horse. It's not, an R is way underpowered for the size of the tractor, but you're talking, he was up against like, you know, Ford 7000s and stuff. Like, he was up against tractors that had a lot more ass than he did, so he actually didn't do too bad. Or did Ron pull in the 10,000? Ron might actually have been in the 10,000. Yeah, Ron was in the 10,000 because Ron pulled his R. He was in the 10,000. Tyler pulled his girlfriend's 820. He was in the 10,000, and then Tyler pulled his 4320, and he was in the 10. Yeah. All three of those were in the 10,000. So Ron in that poor R and Tyler on that 820, they were both way outclassed for the class they're in. But the way our stupid poll works, they have 3 or 4 antique classes, but you have to be signed up for them by a certain date. I want to say it's in April or something stupid, but you got to be signed up by a certain date, and they only allow a single model of every make. So like if I wanted to pull my 66 but there was already a 66 signed up for the class, I could not pull on that class because there's already one Oliver 66 in the class. That's how our dumbass antique classes work up there. So if you miss the sign-in date or there's already a tractor of your model in that class, you got to jump up to the farm stock class. So that's basically what happened to the R and the 830. They missed the sign up for the antique class. So they had to jump up to farm stock, and at that point you're basically just pulling for fun because you got no chance. But anyway, and then Ron pulled his 1855. He and I were both in the 12,000. Neither one of us placed. Ron had me by like 15 foot. He was somewhere in the mid 260s, and I made it till 247. So that tells you the 12,000 farm stock is probably the worst class to pull in with a stock tractor, because you have the guys that run the 12,000 pound no rope class, and they can come down and they got enough power to run in the speed limit class that I was in. So I was way underpowered for what I was at, but I was doing good until, well, Ron was doing good until he got into a wheel hop, and then he lost the camera, which you've seen by now. That was interesting. I just about shit a brick, because I was walking back behind the grandstand to grab the camera off his fender so that I could go pull, and I'm walking up to him and I don't see the camera on the fender of his tractor. So I figured, okay, he reached over, grabbed it, shut it off, and he's holding it in his hand, and I walk up to him, and he looks over at the fender, and he goes to reach for it, and he's like, well, turns out he got into that wheel hop, the camera fell off, so I went running in the grandstand. I jumped up on the stage where the announcer was, and I'm trying to look over the track, and I'm like, man, if he lost this thing, it probably went under the skid plate or something, or they ran over it with a roller, and this thing's long gone. And the track boss must have seen me looking at the track. He says, hey, and he waves me over. They had it sitting up on the table. The guy running the track leveler found it, and he picked it up. So luckily they didn't disqualify Ron, because normally if you have something fall off of your tractor, it's an automatic disqualification. But those guys thought it was so damn funny, they weren't going to disqualify him. They thought it was hilarious. They said, yeah, you're going to get some pretty good video with that one. So anyway, Ron had me beat, but Ron also had enough power. He was running in 4th gear because he's got that Cummins cranking 230 horse. So basically what happened was, right about the 250 foot mark, about 245 to 250 is where most of the guys had been spinning out in previous classes and even into the 12,000. And they basically had a trench cut the entire width of the track. Then they'd been packing or grading it, packing it back down, but once you got a hole, it's basically there for the entire pull. Really until they wet the track back down, work it back down, and pack it back in, which they're obviously not going to do in between classes. So unless you had enough horsepower, which all the hot farm tractors do, to get your wheel speed up so you could have skipped up over that rut and got onto the other side where it was still hard to drag the sled through it, basically what ended up happening to me was I only had enough power because it's a stock tractor. I was in 2nd gear, and I felt it. I wasn't even spinning yet. Front end hadn't really come off the ground or anything. I was still going, and the minute I fell off into that rut, I just felt it, and it went, ugh. And I lost all my drawbar height. It set the sled down all the way on the skid pan, and that was all she wrote. So that's basically what happened to me. She had more to give, because I didn't downshift until I felt myself go in that hole, and then I took the full weight of the sled and I had to downshift. But if I never fell in that hole, she had more to give. I just didn't have you ain't got enough tractor to compete in the farm stock class. Because tractor pulling rule number, or tractor pulling, I guess it'd be tractor pulling rule number 1, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. So, but anyway, that's what happened to me and Ron. And then my little buddy Joey, which probably should have been me and Ron pulled, and then they switched to the antiques and the garden tractors, if I remember right. I'm trying to get these in order. Joey pulled them 2 little wheel horses. The first video I got was him on his 14 horse stock, and that was a 2nd place pull. He did really good for having turf tires. And then the 2nd pull, where he was on that I think that was a hot 15 horse, which was actually his grandpa's tractor. That was a full pull. He took 1st place with that one, so Joey placed in both those classes that he pulled in, which good for him. Pretty soon you start him off on garden tractors, pretty soon he's going to be wanting a full-size one of his own, so he's going to be an expensive little boy here in the future. But I've been telling him I was going to work him into a video, so there you go, Joey. We finally got you into a video. So after that, what was the next one? 15,000, right? Yeah, 15,000 was next, and Billy pulled that 4020 Meade Repower Detroit. I actually don't know how he did, because I didn't get to watch the pull because he took off. I ran around the backside of the grandstand and I pulled my camera off at the other end, but he had fun. So I'm hoping I set the camera up on his roll bar, and I hope I got it pointed. Hope I had it pointing down far enough to get a decent shot of the tractor, but I don't know. I couldn't. The sled was pulling up when I was putting it on there, and I didn't have enough time to look and get, so I just kind of eyeballed it and hoped for the best. So hopefully that worked out. And then Mark pulled his 1086 in the 15,000 pound class, and he unfortunately grabbed too high of a gear by accident. He basically ran out of power way before he ran out of traction, so he'll know better for next year. And then in the 18,000 pound class was Tyler in that Massey. He placed, I just don't remember what he got. And then we got to the 22,000 pound heavyweight class, and Matt pulled his 8930 Magnum. That was a first place pull. And then of all stupid things, that damn 8020. Mind you, this class had Matt with that Magnum. There was a Steiger Puma on almost new rubber. There was a John Deere 4555 front wheel assist and it was a 55 series Deere two-wheel drive. That might have been a 4555 too. But tractors that should by all rights way outclass that 8020, and Billy went in and took second with that tractor. That blew my mind. That thing, well, you saw it in the video, he got up to about where I was standing, and that Detroit started to fall off. We're like, well, yeah, Detroit things, this is it. And he got through that sticky spot, and she came right back, and he went like another 70 feet, and it's like, holy shit. Good for that old girl. Old but not obsolete. So, anyway, this video is going to be long as hell, so I'll cut her off here, but that's kind of the rundown of how things progressed. Basically, Matt and Richard were Matt, Richard, and Billy were the only three that got anything out of it, so. But it was a good time, good to be back up to a pull. Saw a lot of people I hadn't seen since the pull 2 years ago before China virus killed everything last year, so. It was a good time, we had some fun, nothing got broke, so. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So, anyway, I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.